Hey everyone, I'm Keegs, and I just saw the movie last night in Soho and figured I'd talk about it. So, overall, I thought this movie was not bad overall. There was a few parts that I thought were a little confusing and not in the intentional way. This movie is about a girl who I think might be schizophrenic, but also there might be some weird Twilight Zone stuff happening in this movie. Our main character, Ellie, is a fashion designer and she is trying to make it in the big world. But she's from this small town and ends up going to a college in London for fashion design. And while there, she hates her dorm that she's in. And I can't say I blame her because I've lived in a dorm myself before, but she also has like the most cliche Mean Girls roommate ever. So eventually she's like, okay, I'm going to move out on my own instead and get away from all your BS. And she finds this little old lady who's renting her like top floor apartment and she takes it, and then some weird things start happening in the movie. So that's about as far as I'm really going to go here without getting into spoilers and really discussing the movie in detail. So here is my spoiler warning. Now, this is about a girl who is envisioning herself in or around a woman from the 60s. And she forms this really unhealthy relationship, I think, this attachment to this woman that she's having visions of. And she starts dressing like her. She cuts her hair to look just like her. And she starts designing her fashion clothes around what this girl wore back then. It's really unclear to me if she can actually be harmed in these visions. There's one scene where she has like a hickey on her neck from a vision that she had the night before when this woman that she was watching got kissed on the neck, and then she gets a hickey in real life. So I'm not really sure if she could actually be harmed or killed in there. And like, what if she died in those visions? Would she die in real life? I don't know. I see, like, this is what I mean by is confusing, and that's never really answered that question. And there's like times where she can interact with people in the visions, and then generally she can't, or she's behind some kind of glass wall, and eventually one time she like breaks out of it. So it's really confusing as to what's real and what's not, and what can happen in the vision and what can't happen in the vision. The thing that actually confused me the most is when the old woman says that people previously have just left in the middle of the night, which kind of alludes to them getting visions and nightmares or whatever you want to call it and then leaving. But our main character, before she goes to the house in any kind of way, shape, or form, has visions of her dead mother, and then she goes to the house and has more visions. So what I'm thinking actually is that maybe she is a psychic and everybody has visions of a haunting in this house, but because Ellie is actually a psychic and can connect with the dead, she gets things that are 100 times more powerful, and she can actually cross in between the living and the dead memories there. And also, I want to say real quick that the cinematography in this movie is amazing. I thought Edgar Wright did an amazing job of making all of the correct technical decisions, and all the angles and the shots that this movie had were really good, and I'd love to see more movies in this kind of style. I also don't really understand why the old man cop at the end of the movie was being so freaking cryptic. Like, I feel like everything he said was intentionally so mysterious and misleading for just to be an intentional red herring. But if you were actually a good guy the whole time, then why don't you just tell Ellie everything you know? And did you just step out in front of the car at the end intentionally? Because I feel like you looked and saw the car and then like jumped into it. But also, I'm thinking that the way that this movie is shot so artistically, this whole movie is from Ellie's perspective. And her perspective, I think we can definitively say she is not of sound mind. So the way she perceived things to happen may not actually be the way they happened in real life. So I'm leaning towards the fact that everything that kind of happened in that sequence, and there are a lot of sequences here, did not go down exactly as we saw them. This is just how Ellie perceived it to happen. Also, I'm not sure if the old lady at the end was alluding to having killed other tenants before, but like, why? I don't really understand why. Especially, you don't kill Ellie. She went to the cops and said, I think somebody died in this house. If she mysteriously goes missing, guess where the first place they're going is? To your house. And probably to look under your floorboards. I'm sure you didn't hide the blood that well. If they take one dog in there, it's going to find everything that's in that house. So that's a dumb, boneheaded move, in my opinion. That's the one tenant you don't kill. You kill the ones that haven't gone to the police yet. But you definitely don't kill the one that had and had already told them that your house was the house that somebody died in. I feel like they talked about the mom killing herself through a suicide a lot. I thought that was going to have some kind of role to play. I mean, maybe the only role was to get us to think that the main character was mentally unstable. So I guess that's probably what it was, is to prove that she has a history of mental illness in her family, and that's why her being a schizophrenic might actually be the more likely scenario than anything else, especially ghosts. So, do you think actually the mom, though, was a psychic and could see dead people, and that's why she ended up killing herself too? Or do you think, just that was another plot point that didn't really go anywhere? The overall plot of the movie about a singer in the 60s that ended up getting forcefully pimped out was pretty brutal, and I was not really prepared for that. And I was never really scared in this movie. There was some tension, but I was never really scared, mostly just sad at seeing how things went down and how this woman's life was playing out. Overall, as I said at the beginning of this discussion, this movie wasn't bad. It's not the most memorable thing I've seen, and I probably won't go back to it again, but I never felt like I was wasting my time at any point in the movie. So, I want to know, did you see the movie? Do you have any other theories about what was going on? Anything different from how I interpreted the movie? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, though. I'm Keegs, and I will catch you all next time.